Let's go, baby.
Off the turn, they're 3 wide.
Battle for the lead as Pitcock gets out of shape.
Bottom shot, 3 wide.
He takes the lead back. Dynamite Racing.
Welcome everyone to Stafford Speedway as we prepare for another Friday night under the lights here at the Connecticut Half Mile. And we're going to start tonight's pit preview in the SK Modified pits, where Kyle Rickey's standing by with the driver who finished second in last week's SK 5K.
Bond's able to catch up with last week's runner-up finish in the Napa SK 5K. Noah Corner finished in the second spot, led a bunch of laps. So close. So first off, how was the run a week ago? And what's it going to take for you to finally get that first win here at Stafford?
Well, it seems like at least for the last 2 weeks, luck's been on our side, and we finished fourth and second. The car was good, and I love those styles of races. You know, you can play it out. You know the car that you got. Like I knew on like lap 20, as soon as we got out into the lead, the car was great. It was a great long run car, and it was just fun. You get to do a different style of racing. It's more relaxed.
You mentioned back-to-back top 5 finishes. The fourth a couple of weeks ago, the second place last week. What has changed with this team?
Just the motor's not blowing up so far. You know, the opening race we were running fourth, and with 2 to go it blew up, and we've just been chasing that problem all year. And after the last escapade, we back-to-back top 5 finishes. So, you know, hopefully it lasts the rest of the year.
It is a beautiful day here in Stafford. The humidity low compared to what we've had through the month of July and the early part of this month, expecting cooler temperatures later tonight. What does that do to the racetrack compared to the hot, slick surface that we had, say, the last 3 or 4 weeks?
The track always frees up at the end of the night. It's just a matter how much, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. You just got to hammer down, and hopefully you stay, your front bumper stays clean, and you end up on top.
Looking for that first win here later tonight. Been so close. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
That's Noah Corner looking for his first career Stafford Motor Speedway SK Modified win. It could come later on here tonight. Now let's go to the other side of the pits and Bonza, who's caught up with another driver looking for his first SK win.
Kyle, one of the drivers who got a top 10 finish in last week's SK 5K is Troy Talman, and he also led several laps in the beginning of the race. So before we talk about the year, how'd you feel about the car last week that you can carry over to this week?
It was really good during the day. We had a good heat race, and then nighttime came, and then we put a lot of fuel in it right for the 80 lapper. So it started the race off a little too tight, but I think we're real close. It has speed, just gonna free it up a little bit more tonight, and then I think we'll have a good piece.
How does the track change? You just talked about running in the daytime compared to night. How does the track normally behave in the daytime and then as the sun sets?
Well, to be honest, if I had that answer, I think we'd be running a lot better. So we're learning with this car, just minor changes to it. I don't think it changes a whole lot from daytime to nighttime, but we just got to find that right adjustment. We always have speed during the day, just we have to find the right balance. Sometimes it frees up a lot at night. We just have to kind of stay up with it.
So last year, you had multiple runner-up finishes. You had your best year yet in the SKs. This year, what would you say has been the biggest challenge to overcome, or is it just multiple things compiling together?
Well, in the beginning of the year, we had the Fury car here. That's going to come back at some point, but we kind of struggled with that, and we actually put a clip on it, so when we come back, should be a lot better. But that's the car we ran here last year with, and then we brought the Troyer out like 5 or 6 weeks ago. And I think our average finish with this thing is 9th. So it's just keeping up with it. It's a challenge, right? Everyone's just so good, so you really have to have like all your ducks lined up in a row. So I'm confident we'll get it. I got a great team behind me, so we'll get it.
Let's see what you got. Have fun tonight.
Thank you.
That's Troy Talman looking to get Viz into the top 5 after leading several laps in last week's SK 5K. Now we're going to move to the late model pits with Kyle.
And Bonzo were able to catch up with last week's 8th place finisher here in the late model pit area, Daryl Kane, but it wasn't easy. It was a rough and tumble 30-lap feature a week ago. Kind of walk us through your event, what eventually led to that 8th place.
A trip down pit road, a couple of bumpers ruined, Nerf bars, doors, and a lot of carnage for a 30-lap feature.
Other than the second race of the year, though, that's your lowest finish of the season. You got to be happy with how the summer has gone, looking at the big picture.
Yeah, it's we strive to make sure we put the car in the trailer every week and have at least a top 5 finish. But obviously, we need to win. Plain and simple. That's the only way you're going to contend for championships. But you got to make sure you put the car in a decent spot every week. But we keep fighting every week, and we're going to get it. We're going to get that win. We need to. It's the only way we're going to contend for this, because the 3 guys ahead of me have wins. So it's the only way we're going to get there.
You're 4th in points, 30 points back. I mean, are you more concerned about getting the win, or are you more concerned about just kind of keeping the top 3 within arm's reach?
I want to win. Points don't matter to me. It's great, but at the end of the day, there's no trophy for 4th place, and at the end of the year, there's a trophy to come home with the 1st place trophy in Victory Lane, and these guys get to enjoy that more than a trophy at the end of the year. So I'd rather to win.
Good luck on trying to get that first win of the season here later tonight.
We're going to dig hard for the rest of the season.
Daryl Keene currently 4th in the championship standings. Now let's go just a couple of stalls down and hear from the all-time winner in the SK Light Modifieds with Bonza.
Quiet consistency is key in the SK Lights, Kyle, and one of those drivers that has been quietly consistent is the all-time winner in the SK Light Modifieds, as you mentioned, in Chris Matthews. Chris, this year, the first half may not have been the smoothest year. You had some damage one race, penalty another race. But over the last month and a half, it seems like the finishes have been coming better. You have a win this year. What's been the key to getting back in the groove of things?
Just everybody staying in a good frame of mind and keep moving forward, and just teamwork. Everyone's helping out and it's making it happen.
The track has changed a bit over the last month and a half because of all the rain, or at least I figure it would be. So tell me, how much has the track changed with all the rain we've had? There's no rain today, thankfully, but how has the track evolved throughout the season?
I'd say it just seems like it's a little bit different with the rain and everything, washing it off all the time, and you just got to kind of stay on top of adjusting for it, and it seems to be okay.
What more do you need to get back to Victory Lane for a second time this year, you think?
I'm not sure. We're still working on it, figuring it out, and hopefully we got something. We're hoping maybe tonight the car's a little better and tried a couple different things, and we'll see what happens.
30-plus cars every single week. What is it like for you to go through that pack of traffic on a weekly basis?
It's amazing to get that many cars here, and it shows you how good of a place it is to race, and it's just the competition's, extreme. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
Let's see what you got tonight. Have fun.
All right, thank you very much.
That's Chris Matthews looking for SK Light Modified career win number 21 to continue his mark as the winningest driver in this division. We're going to stay in the SK Light Modifieds where Kyle's with one of our top 10 finishers last week.
Bond's able to catch up with a driver that finished in the top 10 in last week's 20-lap SK Light Modified feature. Cassandra Cole currently top 10 in points. First off, how do we keep up the consistency that you and this team has found here over the last couple of weeks?
I think it's just getting good finishes and staying out of the mess up front sometimes. Sometimes it's in the mid-pack, sometimes it's in the back. You never really know where it's going to be. But we've had a lot of top 10s so far this year, which we haven't had in the past, and hoping to make it some more top 5s than top 10s.
Talk about the challenges of racing one of these cars in the eye of the storm. You mentioned a little bit ago, huge fields, 30-plus cars every week, and seemingly you start right in the middle of it every week and find a way into the top 10. What's it like being in all that traffic?
It's pretty crazy. I mean, you never know which lane's going to go and which lane's not, so it's a little bit of luck and then just a lot of, I don't know, I guess it's mostly just luck, really.
Have you met your preseason expectations, and if so, have they changed here in the last 4 months since the start of the season?
I still want to win, which I haven't gotten yet, but I would say that I've done a lot better this year than I have in the previous years, so I guess I have met my expectations so far, but I still want more.
Best of luck to you here tonight.
Thank you.
For a podium finish here later tonight, perhaps that first win is Cassandra Cole in the SK Light Modifieds. Now let's head over to the street stock pits and Bonsa.
Kyle, Bill Cody makes a return to Stafford 2 weeks ago after heavy damage in a crash set him back for a bit. And ever since then, 2 sixth-place finishes having to go through traffic. What has changed since you come back to Stafford to where you're getting more consistent runs compared to how the year started?
Probably my mindset. We're coming into this year. We had a good mindset, we thought. Car was good. We unloaded fast in the Sizzler, and problem after problem every week. 4 DNFs in 5 races. Heavy damage every time, just about. Wrong place, wrong time. Walked away, said I wasn't going to, was probably going to take the rest of the year off, and kind of a new crew this year, and these guys never let up. They're in the trailer the next day taking the thing apart, and they're my motivation. They keep me going.
So how's the car been the last few weeks, and what more do you need to get that first top 5?
I could have had that last week. Definitely that green-white checkered in the end. Something was on the track, got real loose the last couple laps, so I was happier with a 6th place than wrecked. So I think what we need for a top 5. I don't care about that. I want a podium. We unloaded fast enough to get that this year. Car's still off a little bit after it got wrecked pretty bad. I know there's still something in there I got to find, but we're going to get it. We're going to get it.
How tough is it to find that a little bit more in the car, especially if it's not maybe 100%?
You can find a half a second all day long, but when it comes down to finding those last couple 2/10ths, 1/10, it's everything, and you need that when you're out front. Through traffic, you don't need it, but you just need consistency and being smooth. I've been starting in the back for a few weeks, and I'm like, my mindset's I start behind Travis Hyder every week. I'm like, I'm just going to follow this guy to the front, and 2 laps, I can't even see him. So, I got plenty to work on myself as a driver, and we got some stuff to do with the car, but we're going to get it.
Have fun tonight.
What's up, Dylan? Thank you.
That's Bill Cody looking for 3 straight 6th-place finishes as he continues to stay consistent in the street stock division. Well, it's time to go racing. It's another Friday night under the lights at the Stafford Speedway with Kyle Rickey on the call.
All right, thank you very much, Bonza Tufa, and welcome to the Stafford Motor Speedway for what has turned out to be an absolutely picture-perfect Friday night to go racing here as we hit the mid-month of May, currently 78 degrees, partly cloudy skies, and here in the month of August, rather, as we get set to go. I wish we were in May. Bonza Tufa joins me up here topside, and a lot of storylines in the pits, and they're about to transpire onto the racetrack here tonight as we look at drivers not only looking for their first win of the season, but a lot of different agendas, including a championship.
Did you say picture perfect day?
It is. It has been.
When was the last time we've said that?
On a Friday, it's been a long time.
It has been. It's nice. It's a nice change of pace. It seems like anything that is nice is just not normal these days. So it's good to have the weather we have tonight. You mentioned drivers looking for their first win of the year. There's a lot of good drivers across all 5 weekly divisions that are looking for their first win. Our first heat race of the night is the street stock division. Among those drivers, I mean, you got Downey who's won, Hyder who's won, Waterman who's won. Tyler Trott's been pretty strong this year. He hasn't won a race yet. You got Jason Finkbein. He's had a couple starts this year. He hasn't won a race yet. There's several drivers still that are looking for that first win of the year. SK Modifieds, we've had 8 different winners, but there's still some drivers that we are waiting to see if they can hit victory lane for the first time as well. It's just tough. Every Friday night, it's tough to win. David Arute won 3 times last year. He's still looking for his first win. Noah Corner came close last week, finishing second. He's still looking for that maiden victory, and I think he's finished second like 3 or 4 times in his career in the SK Modifieds and is still looking to do one spot better. We can go on and on and on, but it's just tough every Friday night to compete for the win, let alone get that win.
And there were 2 drivers last Friday night that broke some winless droughts, finally getting that first checkered flag of the 2023 season.
Michael Ray in the late models and Todd Owen in the SK Modifieds. Both drivers had not won since the Spring Sizzler in 2022. That was, 17 months ago?
Yeah.
So they both broke their winless streaks. Both drivers have had good runs in between those 2 wins, but just couldn't quite put it together to find victory lane. But they got it done last week, and we'll see who's next on that list to get their first win of the year. We got 5 chances tonight and still about 6 or 7 more events to go this year.
Great field of cars in all 5 of our divisions. The street stocks roll out onto the Speedway. There are 24 of them here tonight looking to take the green flag in the main event. But first, we have to set the starting lineup in a pair of qualifying heat races. And starting on the pole here in race number 1, car number 15, rookie driver from Ware, Massachusetts, the Dustbuster duct cleaning entry for Sean Petlock.
Starting second is the Stafford native in car number 71, sponsored by Rico's Pizza. It's Marvin Minkler.
Third starter, car number 7 from Granby, Massachusetts, the All-Star Duct Solutions Incorporated Chevrolet for Jeff Aslan.
Outside of row 2 is the number 49. He's from Somers, Connecticut, sponsored by Tile, Chief Floor, and Wall Coverings. It is Jason Raymond.
Fifth starter, car number 55 from Chicopee, Massachusetts, the Anytime Nutrition Chevrolet for Brandon Warren.
In the 6th spot is the 31 car who has won 6 times this season from Danielson, Connecticut, sponsored by Fairway Mortgage Mike Rogers' team, Ryan Waterman.
7th starter, car number 69, heard from him just a moment ago in our preview from Belchertown, Massachusetts, the Vanished Valley Brewing Chevrolet for Bill Cody.
Our defending champion starts 8th from Woodbury, Connecticut, sponsored by Haidar Construction Incorporated. It's car number 11, Travis Haidar.
9th starter, car number 44 from right here in Stafford Springs, the Stafford Veterinary Center entry for Rob Sears.
Car number 13 starts next in the 10th spot from right here in Stafford, sponsored by Charlie's Towing. It's Matt Martell.
11th starter, the 00 from Hamden, Massachusetts, the Bobby's Burner Service Chevrolet for Bobby Wilson.
And in the RaceDayCT.com rental race car in car number 22, it's Aki Asai from Tokyo, Japan.
Lined up, ready to go. Heat race number 1 of 2 for the street stocks. Our first qualifying of the event here tonight. Again, a big welcome to the Stafford Motor Speedway. Beautiful night to go short track racing here in North Central Connecticut. Green flag is up and we are underway.
The top 7 from this heat and in the second heat will qualify for the handicap, which is always important because track position is key. Up front, it's Sean Petlock that pulls out to about a 3-car length gap over a 3-wide battle for second.
Here comes Warren to the inside of Aslan, who's stuck in the middle for a moment. Marvin Minkler in the outside lane will come out on top of that battle for now in the runner-up spot. Also a close call further back with Travis Haidar in the 11 as he battles his way through the field.
Brandon Warren drives it in deep in the 1 to get underneath Minkler, and he's going to take the second spot. Ryan Waterman follows through, moves up to third. Waterman might take a look for second. He's going to try it underneath Warren in the 55.
There's Waterman to the inside, has good run on the bottom of the racetrack off of turn number 4. Brandon Warren topside. Minkler goes high to the exit of the corner. That opens the door for Cody on the bottom for 4th.
One of the big losers early on in that heat was Jason Raymond, who started 4th. He fell all the way back to 8th because he got stuck on the outside. Waterman is quickly reeling in Petlock in the battle for the lead. Warren runs 3rd, Bill Cody 4th, and here's the battle for the top spot.
Here comes car number 31. Ryan Waterman to the inside of Sean Petlock. They are nose to nose back to the corner. Into turn number 2 they go. And it is Waterman, the new race leader, with a lap and a half to run. With Warren in 2nd, Haidar in 3rd. Good battle for 4th.
Cody on the inside of the 15 now in that battle for 4th, while Jason Raymond looks underneath Marvin Minkler in a battle for 6th. The white flag is out. One more lap to go in this one. It's Waterman pulling away about a car length over Brandon Warren.
Warren staying within a car length or so. Here comes Haidar in 3rd. Top 3 have been able to break away from the rest of the field with 2 turns to run.
Warren is keeping up with Waterman, but how much is Waterman just taking it easy? A pretty good start for that 31 team in their pursuit of win number 7. Ryan Waterman takes the heat. Brandon Warren finishes 2nd. Travis Haidar 3rd. Bill Cody and Sean Petlock round out the top 5.
The rest of the field crossing the line, including Jason Raymond in 6th, Marvin Minkler in 7th, Jeff Aslan in 8th, Rob Sears 9th, Bobby Wilson rounding out the top 10, then Matt Martell rounding out the running order. So heat race number 1 in the books for the street stocks. The second qualifier will head out onto the Speedway here in just a moment. Our first of 5 divisions to qualify this evening for their feature events. Normal distances for everybody tonight.
That's a change.
Just the 5 regular divisions, our weekly divisions here at our first regular show of the 2023 season.
It only took until the month of August for that to happen. It's almost like what is normal is abnormal this year, but yeah, it's just a regular night, which is just so odd, but That's just the way it goes.
Open Modifieds are back next week. Some
Yep.
big news concerning that event late this week. We'll talk more about that here in a little bit as heat race number 2 comes out onto the Speedway for the street stocks. Car number 84 will lead them to green from Ellington, Connecticut. The J&J trucking entry for Burt Willett.
Starting second is the 01 machine. He's from Agawam, Massachusetts, sponsored by Moose Hillock Camping Resorts. It's Johnny Walker.
Third starter, car number 17 from Canterbury, Connecticut. The Spafco race chassis car for Bill Porter.
Starting fourth is the 80 car. He's from East Hartford, Connecticut, sponsored by Backroad Smokin' Barbecue, Tyler Trott.
Fifth starter, car number 67 from Uncasville, Connecticut. The Faith Construction Chevrolet for Aaron Clemens.
The New York Sports Show 94 starts next in the 6th spot. He's from Goshen, Connecticut. He is Chris Danielchuk.
Seventh starter, winner this year from Bark Hempstead, Connecticut. The number 42, PJ Ladola and Sons in Electrical Contractors entry for Travis Downey.
Outside of row 4 is the 18 car from Naugatuck, Connecticut, sponsored by PS Engines. It's Cindy Sturk.
Ninth starter, car number 23 from Wallingford, Connecticut. The Connecticut Compressor Systems car for Alex Spinato.
Rounding out the top 10 is the 37, making a return after a week off last Friday. Sponsored by Charlie's Towing from Columbia, Connecticut, it's David Mesha Sr.
And making his debut here tonight, starting in the 11th spot in car number 10 from Thompson, Connecticut, the Napa Vandy Auto Supply car for Tim Poulin.
And closing out the 12-car field is the Renta Race Car 26. It is Nick Ulrich. Top 7 qualify for the handicap in this one. 24 street stocks in total. We've had a good field for the street stocks almost every week in this division.
But 3 drivers have made it to victory lane, and 2 have been able to dominate much of the season. Can those streaks be broken tonight? Can we get a 4th different winner here in 2023? We'll find out here later this evening. Green flag is up, and we're underway. Burt Willett will lead the field to turn number 1 with Walker to his right elbow.
Walker got a bit of a better start compared to Willett as they race door-to-door into turn 1. Willett ekes out ahead a bit, but Walker is staying strong on the outside. Bill Porter runs third, watching the front 2 go at it.
Porter in third. They'll stack up from third on back as the battle for the lead is still nose to nose off of turn number 4. Willett to the inside, Walker to the outside. At the stripe, it's Willett by a nose.
But they're still racing side by side, wheel to wheel. I'm impressed with how much Walker's holding on the outside, and as soon as I say that, he loses 2 car lanes. So Willett takes the lead, Walker runs second, Porter takes a look to the inside, and Bill Porter in that 17 had his best run of the year last week when he finished 7th.
Aaron Clemens up to the 4th spot. Travis Downey rounding out the top 5 and stepping out of line here on the front stretch on Clemens for position number 4 as they go back to 1 and a bit for the lead.
Walker to the inside of Willett. He's got the top spot with ease, so move the orange 01 to the top spot. Willett falls back to second. Clemens once again takes a look to the inside of Porter in the battle for third. As they race side by side, Porter gets a little bit sideways and loses ground.
Looks like Burt may have missed the corner just a bit last time by. Opened the door for Walker on the bottom, was able to take the top spot. Willett in second. Good. They stack up from third on back. Clemens, Downey, and Porter. 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and then the battle for 6 also is side by side for position.
1 lap ago, Porter was in the battle for third, got stuck on the outside, and now falls all the way back to the 7th spot. But he's still in the handicap. The white flag is out. 1 more lap in this one. It's Johnny Walker out in front, about a car length ahead of Burt Willett.
Burt Willett in the 2nd spot in his 3rd ride of the season. I believe his 3rd week in that car, number 84. Then a bit of a gap back to the race from third on back as the checkered flag will wave this time by.
As Tim Poulin pulls it on the pit road early, it's Johnny Walker that'll take down the final street stock heat race. Burt Willett finishes 2nd. Aaron Clemens, Travis Downey, and Tyler Trott round out the top 5.
Chris Danielchuk will finish in the 6th position. Bill Porter in 7th. David Mesha Sr. in 8th. Cindy Sturk in 9th and Alex Spinato 10th. Tim Poulin in 11th and Nick Ulrich will round out the 12-car field in street stock heat race number 2.
Well, we've seen Johnny Walker have a couple of good runs this year. In fact, he's had a couple of runner-up finishes. His main goal, I mean, he's won the championship before, twice in fact. He wants that win record that Kyle Casagrande has, and Walker's just 1 win behind to get that all-time mark tied.
He has been 1 win behind for a while.
Yes, he has.
And he's been on vacation. Talked to him in the pits earlier today, said, how's the car? He said, I don't know. We haven't worked on it since we got off the racetrack last Friday night, so he wasn't really sure what he had, but hopefully he is happy after his performance in the heat race, and we'll see what happens in the main event here later on this evening for Johnny Walker as the late models head out onto the Speedway for the first of 2 qualifying events. Starting on the pole in heat race number 1 will be car number 2 from Monroe, Connecticut, the Green Knolls Landscaping Chevrolet for Dwayne Knoll.
Outside the front row is car number 61 from North Haven, Connecticut, sponsored by Blake Company. It's John Blake.
Third starter, car number 12 from Hamden, Massachusetts, Safeco Foam, providing the sponsorship for Alexandra Fern.
Starting fourth is the Tavern on the Tracks 39. He's from Berlin, Connecticut. It's Paul Verrecchio Jr.
Fifth starter, car number 43 from Chicopee, Massachusetts, the Payless Auto Glass entry for Andrew Durand.
We talked to him earlier today. It's car number 79, starting 6th from Enfield, Connecticut, sponsored by Big Kahuna Racing and Jarmock Farm, Daryl Keene.
Seventh starter, car number 97 from Granby, Massachusetts, the Meadows Motor Cars Chevrolet for Adam Gray.
Our 3-time winner this year starts 8th in car number 92 from East Longmeadow, Massachusetts, sponsored by King Gray Coach Lines. It's Tom Fern.
Ninth starter, car number 11 from Mapleville, Rhode Island, the Bryans Burrillville Motors car for Corey Fanning.
Starting 10th is the 33 machine, sponsored by AVI Incorporated from Barkhamsted, Connecticut. It's Aiden Burrell.
And 11th starter rounding out the field, car number 20 from Morris, Connecticut, the Litchfield County Marine entry for PJ Zarella.
So there's your 11-car field for this one. Top 7 will qualify. 8 laps for this heat race compared to the Street Stocks 5-lappers. John Blake and Alex Fern on the front row. Looks like Dwayne Knoll elected to go to the back of the field, so that's why Blake is on the pole while Alex Fern starts outside of the front row.
Fern in the 12 had a good run last week, a much-needed run through the field after an early race spin. Made a stop, came up to finish through and into the top 5 as they come off of turn number 4, looking for green this time by. Heat race number 1 for the late models is underway, and it's John Blake that gets the jump and will lead the field of 12 into turn 1.
Ooh, Alex Fern might have gotten into the back of John Blake in turn 1, but Blake ends up pulling away by a couple car lengths while they race double wide for 2nd, for 4th, and for 6th.
Verrecchio to the inside of Fern will take the runner-up spot away as they come back off the corner. Tom Fern stepping out of line further back in the 92 behind Daryl Keene in the 79. That's the inside lane looking to advance.
Keene on the inside, and you talk about the inside lane advancing. Keene said before, how many times have I started on the outside or restarted on the outside? It seems like his car, as many others as well, don't go well up top, but this time he's on the inside and he's moved up to 3rd.
Keene in 3rd, battle for 4th. Cousins Ferns go side by side back to turn number 1. Tom to the inside, Alexandra to the outside. Alex will fall to 5th and maybe 6th as Durand goes to her inside now in 3.
Adam Gray behind them moves up to the 7th spot after battling Corey Fanning for a moment. Durand and Alex Fern are racing door to door, and in fact, they banged doors. 2 drivers who were competing for the Limited Late Model Championship 3 years ago, battling it out here in the late model heat.
Battling for position number 5. Gray falls off the pace just a bit off of turn number 2. Lost a bunch of ground to that 5th place battle between Durand and Fern. Gray in 7th, Fanning, and then Knoll as they run halfway home. 4 down, 4 to go for our race leader, John Blake.
Who holds about a 2-car length gap over Paul Verrecchio Jr. And Verrecchio had a pretty good comeback run last week. He got caught up in a little restart jingle, but he's been fast since that new car came out earlier this year, and he runs 2nd, trying to reel in Blake, but he's got 3 laps to work with, and Daryl Keene closing.
Back to the line, another lap in the books as they go to turn number 2. Fern closing in on Keene. Keene closing in on Verrecchio from 2nd on back. Blake, so far, unchallenged as the race leader as they go to turn number 3. Those watching home at Flo, watching the battle from 2nd on back with Verrecchio, Keene, and Fern.
2 laps to go in this one. The field pretty much singled out, spaced evenly. John Blake's gap to 2nd place is slowly dwindling. It's down to about a car length when it was about 2 car lengths a lap or so ago. But everyone is spaced out evenly, and for the top 7, they don't have to go at it too hard because they're in a good spot in the handicap. And as soon as I say that, Tom Fern got into the back of Daryl Keene for a moment in the battle for 3rd.
Yeah, Keene slip sliding around just for a moment in that 3rd spot after the contact. Hangs on to the position for now. Into the final lap with Fern in 4th, Durand in 5th, Alex Fern in the 6th spot.
Final 2 corners of this one, late model heat race number 1. John Blake will lead the way coming off of turn 4 and take down the heat race victory. Paul Verrecchio Jr. finishes second. Daryl Keene, Tom Fern, and Andrew Duran round out the top 5.
Alex Fern will finish in the 6th spot. Then it was Adam Gray in 7th, Corey Fanning in 8th, Dwayne Knoll 9th, and PJ Zarella will round out the top 10. Aiden Burrell rounding out the 11-car finishing order.
Well, John Blake was pretty good in that heat race, and he has a late model win in his career. That came 2 years ago. So we'll see if this is a sign of things to come. But how many times have drivers told us that how their car reacts in the daytime is very different from how it reacts at night?
And the conditions, no doubt, will change between the heat race now and the feature event coming up here in a little bit. As heat race number 2 will head out onto the Speedway in just a moment. Another 10 cars will take the green flag here. Car number 89 will lead the fields to green from Putnam, Connecticut, the Green Knolls Landscaping entry. The pole sitter of heat race number 2 will be Zach Robinson.
On the outside of the front row is the 00 from Pawcatuck, Connecticut, sponsored by Northeast Sheet Metal. It's Jacob Perry.
Third starter, car number 10 from Fairfield, Connecticut, Springfield Thunderbirds, providing the sponsorship for Wayne Corey Jr.
The number 4 starts in position 4 from right here in Stafford Springs, sponsored by Square Keg Pizzeria. It's Tom Butler.
Fifth starter, car number 87 from North Franklin, Connecticut, Mayday Oil, providing the entry for Chris Meyer.
Our point leader starts 6th from Ellington, Connecticut, sponsored by Levine Law. It's the number 23 of Kevin Gambacorda.
7th starter, car number 42 from Durham, Connecticut, the DMW Graphics Chevrolet for Michael Ray.
And then starting 8th is another Ray from Durham, Connecticut, sponsored by TeamsChoice.com. It's David Ray.
And to the inside of the 5th and final row, car number 9 from Naugatuck, Connecticut, A6A Associates, the sponsorship for Bobby Sturt.
And making his debut this season in car number 69 from Berlin, Connecticut, sponsored by Cold Spring Brook Farm, it's Matt Vassar. So welcome back to Stafford, Matt Vassar. We've seen him race in the SK Modifieds over the last several seasons. And now here he is in the late model, and he's had some success in fender cars down south, so we'll see what he has in the 69 car today.
Michael Ray, car number 42, crossing the line right now. The big winner a week ago, last Friday night here at the Speedway. His first win of the season, the 11th of his career. He was in a bit of a drought, as you mentioned earlier, Bonda. His last win in this division came on Napa Spring Sizzler weekend of last year.
Yes, back in April of 2022. But sometimes you just need to get that winless drought out of the way by finally hitting victory lane. Maybe the next win will come in a little bit easier. It's kind of like getting your first career win. You get that one out of the way, maybe you can get the next one a little bit quicker. So we'll see what that 42 has. They feel pretty confident about that car after how it was last Friday night.
Starting a bit deeper in the field here in this heat race as the green flag is out, and Zach Robinson leads the pack to turn number 1 for the first time with Jacob Perry to his outside on the front row.
Chris Meyer had a bit of a tough time getting up to speed. That allowed Michael Ray to go to the inside and move up to the 6th spot as they race tight together amongst the top 5. Zach Robinson, who had a track rental earlier today with some track time, has the lead while they battle for 2nd spot. It's Wayne Corey Jr. versus Jacob Perry.
Corey to the inside, Perry to the outside. Gambacorda wanting to turn the luck around after mechanical issues last week. Nearly cost them the point lead, and a whole big cushion atop the championship standings gone in one night. Right now, 3rd in car number 23.
Gambacorda came into last Friday's race with a 30. Oh, contact in turn 4. Michael Ray got into the back of Jacob Perry. Perry hung on to it, but he seems to be off the pace. Maybe there's something else wrong with that car.
Perry slow down the front straightaway into turn number 1. That car is off the pace as the race for the lead tightens in turn 3. Robinson at the point, Corey in 2nd. Here comes Gambacorda to the inside in the 23.
Michael Ray has been given a black flag, a drive-through penalty after that contact off of turn 4. So that might cause the 42 a chance at the handicap as they race nose to tail up in the top 3. Wayne Corey Jr. back in his primary car is all over the back of Robinson's bumper.
Ray off the pace and will join Perry on the pit lane. Perry limping there now, as will the 42 of Ray, last week's winner. Off of turn 4 come the lead trio. Halfway home, 4 down and 4 to go with Zach Robinson showing the way. Corey in 2nd. Gambacorda 3rd. Gambacorda using the outside lane now to perhaps build a run up the backstretch.
Corey took a peek to the inside of Robinson entering turn 1, backed out of it. Gambacorta took a look to the outside, as you mentioned, but they still run single file. And how about Bobby Sturck the third? His car was wrecked last week. He's right there with the top three.
They're putting that car back together as they go back to turn number 1 for Sturck in position number 4 in car number 9. Battle for second just ahead of Sturck. Here comes Gambacorta. Finally got that run off of turn number 2 on Corey to challenge for the runner-up spot.
And that's the key with the late models, getting the run off the corner and pulling underneath the car in front of you. It's hard to go to the inside entering the corner, but if you get under them coming off the turn, you have a better shot. That allows Gambacorta to move up to second, and Bobby Sturck follows suit and moves up to third.
Good run for Bobby Sturck. One of the better runs that we have seen here this season for that driver. In position number 3, he may not be done yet with still just over a lap to run, and the battle for the lead tightening up just in front of Sturck. Here's Gambacorta to the inside of Robinson.
He takes a peek for a moment in turn 1. Robinson does give him a little room. Here's Gambacorta pulling up to the 89's door as they race side by side off of 2. Gambacorta's car is rolling good, but is there enough time for him to get the lead? It looks like it. Gambacorta to the top spot.
Robinson will fall in the line in second. Will try the crossover. Doesn't have the run off of turn 4. Checkered flag is out. Kevin Gambacorta will pick up the win over Zach Robinson in second. Bobby Sturck, a good run in third. Wayne Corey Jr. in fourth. And Chris Meyer will round out the top 5.
Tom Butler and Matt Vassar get the final 2 spots in the handicap, while David Ray, Michael Ray, and Jacob Perry round out the field. Michael Ray out of the handicap after getting black flagged following the contact with Jacob Perry. Perry ended up pulling on the pit road. I don't know if he had a flat tire or something else was wrong with that car. He made a great save, but he ended his heat early.
So some big names will be toward the tail end of the field when we go feature racing later on this evening for the late models. They'll head back to the pit area and prepare for that 30-lap main event coming up in a little bit, as the limited late models already coming out onto the Speedway on the back straightaway. 2 heat races, 8 cars in each. We'll take green here, car number 17, scheduled to start on the pole here in heat race number 1 from Canton, Connecticut. The RA Spray Foam's entry. Pole sitter scheduled to be the 17 of Connor Jensick.
On the outside of the front row is the number 19 car, sponsored by CSB Communications. From Plainville, Connecticut, it's Adrian Paradise III.
Third starter, car number 87 from Willington, Connecticut, the Stafford Veterinary Center Chevrolet for Damian Pilardi.
Starting fourth is the 20 car from New Salem, Massachusetts, sponsored by Doug's Home Improvements. It's Christopher Phelps.
Fifth starter, car number 21 from Coventry, Connecticut, the GP Fence Chevrolet for Kevin Crosby.
Outside of row 3 is our point leader in the car number 6, sponsored by Lavoie Racing from Windsor Locks, Connecticut. It's Jeremy Lavoie.
Seventh starter, car number 18 from Wethersfield, Connecticut, the Utility Services New England entry for Scott Clement.
And rounding out the 8-car field in number 82 from Harrisville, Rhode Island, the SRD Motorsports machine driven by Samantha Dell.
You mentioned the championship point leader in this event. It is Jeremy Lavoie, car number 6, looking for his 3rd track title here in 2023. Has a 16-point gap over Matt Clement in second. Kevin Cormier, last week's winner, very much a part of the championship battle as well, just 18 points back. And that's something, Bonzo, we're going to talk more and more about as we hit the second week of August. The season is winding down here at Stafford, and those championship battles are heating up, and no doubt this is about the time of the year that the drivers that say if they don't look at them are going to begin to look at them.
And even if they claim they're not looking at them,
they are.
They probably are. But yes, we're closing in on the end of the season. Lavoie looking for redemption after his heartbreaker at the end of last year. Here they come to the green flag. Paradise gets a great jump on the front row. Pilardi's right on the 19's right rear as they race into turn 1.
And it's going to be Paradise that gets the jump to the inside, Pilardi to the outside. 3 wide for position number 3. Here comes Lavoie to the bottom in car number 6. They about ran out of room, and Lavoie backed off the gas just a bit, halfway up the back straightaway. Decided better of it, fell back into line. Now we'll take the 4th spot away as we have a race for the lead.
Pilardi got a good run off of 4 as Paradise got wide coming off the corner. These two got together on the first lap last week and the previous week. Pilardi has the advantage on the inside and takes over the lead.
By a half a car length in turn number 3. Pilardi to the inside, a little loose. Paradise will fall back in the line in second in that blue number 19. Then it's going to be the 21 of Kevin Crosby and the 6 of Jeremy Lavoie.
Kevin Crosby in that 21 has made a few appearances this season. He slides up the track coming off of 2, and that opens the door for Lavoie in the 6 to take that 3rd spot. But Crosby looking for a smooth run tonight. he hasn't made very many appearances over the last few seasons, trying to get more track time as he returns in that 21 car.
Running fourth right now and is able to drive away just a bit from Christopher Phelps in the fifth spot. Samantha Dell in position number 6. Then the scheduled pole sitter for Connor Jensick started this one at the tail end of the field and runs in 7th right now as they'll get the halfway signal this time by. 4 down, 4 to go. No real change at the front of the field with Damian Pilardi showing the way.
Boy, Paradise's car drifted big time through 1 and 2. That car is just a little bit loose, and that's why he keeps losing ground to that 87 car. Last week, Pilardi had some sort of mechanical problem after the lap 1 contact that pretty much ended his night before he even got a chance to race it out. He fell way back in the field. This time, he's off to a good start in his heat race. He pulls to about a half a second lead with 3 to go in the heat.
Battle for second, tightening up just a bit. Jeremy Lavoie closes to within a car length of Adrian Paradise in the 19. The number 6 of Lavoie, both pulling away just slightly from the 21 of Kevin Crosby. And then a full straightaway back to the 5th place car of Christopher Phelps. 2 laps to go. Still Pilardi at the point.
The top 5 qualify for the handicap, and that 5th and final spot goes to Chris Phelps in the 20 car, who has about a couple car lengths back to Connor Jensick in the 17. A lap and a half to go in this one. The gap has pretty much stabilized up front. Pilardi leads by about 4.5 car lengths over Paradise. Then it's about 3 more back to Lavoie.
The white flag is out. 1 lap to go as they come back off of turn number 4. Pilardi will take the white flag, about 3 car lengths in front of Paradise in 2nd. Lavoie in 3rd, Crosby in 4th as they hit the back straightaway for the final time in this qualifying heat race.
Meanwhile, Connor Jensick got past Chris Phelps in the battle for that final spot in the podium, or in the handicap, excuse me, as the checker flag waves. Damian Pilardi will lead the way. A very strong performance from that 87 team. He will win the heat. Paradise finishes 2nd. Lavoie ends up 3rd. Crosby settles for 4th. And Connor Jensick rounds out the top 5.
And then it will be Christopher Phelps in 6th, Samantha Dell in 7th, and the number 18 for Scott Clement, completing the 8-car field. Heat number 1 in the books. Heat number 2 will head to the racetrack in just a moment. Don't forget, next week, Bonza, big news this week, the Open Modifieds back here at the Stafford Motor Speedway next Friday night. The Lincoln Tech Open 80 plus our 5 weekly divisions with a twist.
Yes, the top 2 finishers from the Lincoln Tech Open 80 will be the front row for the Monaco Modified Tri-Track Series Fall Final, the Napa Fall Final, the 50th Napa Fall Final, I believe, this upcoming September. So a lot on the line, not just in terms of winning the Open 80, but you have a chance to transfer into the Fall Final and start on the front row. And drivers will tell you track position is so important with that many good cars in the field.
The Lincoln Tech Open 80 for the Open Modifieds next Friday night here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. You're not going to want to miss it. 8 more limited late models head out onto the racetrack on the pole here in this second qualifying event. Car number 22 from New Hartford, Connecticut, the Dunning Industries entry for Gary Patnode.
Starting 2nd is our defending champion from Tolland, Connecticut, sponsored by Wheeler's Auto Parts. It's Rich Hammond.
3rd starter, car number 23 from Canton, Connecticut, the Genco Construction Chevrolet. That is Devin Jensick.
Starting 4th is a 3-time winner this year from Wethersfield, Connecticut, sponsored by Utility Services New England. Car number 59, Matt Clement.
5th starter, car number 14 from Agawam, Massachusetts, the Gendon Auto Parts Garrett's Carpentry entry for Kevin Cormier.
The 07 car starts 6th from Holland, Massachusetts, sponsored by 5-Star Automotive. It's Trinity Provost.
7th starter, car number 42 from Durham, Connecticut, the Daddy-O Honey Chevrolet for Dana Ray.
And rounding out the 8-car field is the 7 car from West Granby, Connecticut, sponsored by the Schinder Family Farm. It's David Schinder.
8 more cars a lap away from the start here in heat race number 2. The SK Light Modified scheduled up next for their qualifying events, and once again over 30 of them on hand here tonight, and a great field of SK Modifieds as well for 3 qualifying races for their 40-lap feature later on tonight.
Great field for all 5 of our divisions, to be honest. I mean, it's amazing how many cars signed up. I'd have to do the math, but every week just a fantastic amount of cars and great competition for all 5 of our divisions.
And we hope you're enjoying it all here in the grandstands or at home live on FloRacing. Green flag is up, we're underway, and it's going to be the 22 for Gary Patnode to lead the field into turn 1 for the first time.
Patnode to the lead. Hammond on the outside of Jensick has to check up a bit coming off the corner. That allows Devin to try and get that 2nd spot. Kevin Cormier thought about making it 3 wide, thought better of it. Devin Jensick moves up to 2nd. Kevin Cormier moves up to third, and Rich Hammond is following back.
Hammond lit off the pace in that outside lane, has Clement to his inside, still looking for his first win of this 2023 season after winning the championship a year ago in car number 8, currently in position number 5 in the 28, that is, just behind Clement in 4th. Cormier, last week's winner. He was confident when we talked to him in the pits earlier tonight about trying to get yet another win here this year.
He said he's ready to get number 5 tonight, and that car has been really fast, to say the least. He looks to the inside of Jensic coming off of turn 2, but Jensic stays stubborn up top as they race fender to fender into turn 3. Cormier is still there on the bottom lane, but has to check up a bit, and that caused a check up behind him.
Including Rich Hammond getting out of shape in car number 28 will lose a bit of ground to that battle from second on back. Jensic in the 23 goes a bit wide into turn number 1, had the door open, still open for the 14 of Cormier on the bottom, and then it's the 59 of Clement. Then that gap now back to Hammond in the 28. Second through 5th, Hammond drove in a ton in turn 3 as the caution is out for a pair of cars stopped over in turn 2.
Dana Ray and David Schinder crash. Dana Ray was running 6th, Schinder was running 7th. And it looks like those two went nose to nose coming off the corner, and both cars have a decent amount of damage. It's a tough break for both of them, especially Dana Ray, who I talked to their team, and they made some changes to that car. They felt pretty confident that this car would perform better. Just unfortunate that now it has a lot of work to be done if they want to be ready for the feature.
Talked to her after the first round of practice, and she was excited that they found a 1/10 of a second, and she felt that there was more. And unfortunately, may not be able to find it here tonight as she's able to pull away with some damage. First start of the season for Dave Schinder in car number 7. Longtime competitor here in the Northeast.
Now, the positive you can take away is that it doesn't seem like fluid is coming out of either car.
Correct.
So the hope is maybe it's more cosmetic than anything, although it seemed like those two made a fair amount of contact when they hit nose to nose.
And the hood all bowed up on the number 7 for Dave Schinder, the 61-year-old from West Granby, Connecticut. Part-time here a year ago, had 3 top 10 finishes to his credit and just a handful of starts. Former racer at the old Riverside Park Speedway back in the 1980s. And you mentioned the lack of fluid, and maybe a little bit coming from that car now as we see some of the speedy dry go down. Left front corner of the number 7 car that'll go off on the hook here in just a moment.
Well, the worry is when you hit nose to nose is that you get the radiator. So not quite sure if that fluid came off of Schinder's car or Dana Ray. Dana Ray did pull away, I believe.
I think she tried. I think she's still back there.
Oh, she is.
Yeah,
she tried to pull away, yeah.
And now she's going to go off on the hook as well. So 2 teams with a little bit of work to do to get their cars ready for the feature event here later on this evening. For the limited late models, back to next week for a moment.
Okay.
I was excited to see the announcement, kind of a front row qualifier for the Napa Fall Final for the Monaco Modified Tri-Track Series. And immediately the entries went up for next Friday night for the Lincoln Tech Open 80. Should be a great field of cars, and you mentioned now a lot on the line with that additional incentive. Track position is everything, especially when we get to the Napa Fall Final with so many cars entered.
Well, the Napa Fall Final last year, how many cars entered? Over 40 at least, easily. And you can say half of those cars have a chance to win. And you saw in the Spring Sizzler, you had the likes of Woody Pitcat, Ron Silk battling for the win. We saw Mike Christopher Jr. racing the Sizzler. He's signed up for the Lincoln Tech Open 80. I mean, there's a lot of good cars. Ronnie Williams in the 50, Teddy Hodge in the 55. The list goes on and on. Anthony Bello has stepped it up in the Open Modified program. He's been running well. So all these drivers now realize, okay, I can win next Friday, but that means I get to start up front in front of probably 28 to 30 cars. I mean, that's huge, and you want to get off to a good start. It's an 80-lap race, I know, but you want to get off to a good start, especially if you're trying to conserve tires. It's much easier to conserve up in front compared to mid-pack.
And we should mention that if you finish among the top 2 next week, it's not like the drivers can come here in September and not practice or qualify.
No.
They have to meet
You have to qualify
Correct.
for the handicap per se. You got to qualify your way in to the 80-lap feature in order to start on the front row.
They
So you can't just lollygag around.
Correct. They can't just run one lap in the heat race and pull in and be like, all right, I'm starting on the front row.
Right.
So you see the 7 going off on the hook as we have several celebrations happening here at the Speedway tonight, including Kathy Cannon. Happy birthday, Kathy, from all of your family and friends. Hopefully you're enjoying the night here at the Stafford Motor Speedway.
What better way to spend a birthday than at the racetrack having a good time?
And another familiar name to the racetrack we'll talk about here in just a little bit, Matt Brewer, celebrating his 18th birthday, one of the graduates from our Monday night Wild Thing Kart program from a year ago, moving up to the SK Light Modifieds for this season. Happy birthday to Matt, turning 18 here. Love, Nana, and Papa.
Yeah, we saw him racing the Senior Outlaws a couple years ago. Now he's racing SK Lights. It's crazy to see those kids when they're racing in the karts, in the Junior Outlaws, the Senior Outlaws on Monday nights, and then you see them on Friday nights. Matt Brewer, Josh Morrison, among other drivers. It's just really cool to see them elevate themselves, evolve as they learn about the newer cars they're running, the competition they're facing, and improving week after week. So Matt Brewer among those drivers. He has a couple solid runs this year. I remember in the 40-lapper back in May, he was the biggest mover of the race, starting deep in the field. Missed the trouble we had in that race, which wasn't much, and still had a pretty solid finish. So happy birthday, Matt. Enjoy your birthday, and enjoy your youth while you still have it.
That's right. That's right, because before you know it, you're my age.
You're not that old.
Not yet. We're getting there, though. Lights are out. We'll go back under the green flag here. This time we have thinned the field just a bit, down to 6 cars here in the second and final limited late model qualifying events. Gary Patnode to make up the pole position.
With Devin Jensick on the outside. And I think Gary Patnode had one of his best runs, if not his best run of the year last week when he had to put the car back together after he had a heat race accident. Started last, made his way up to 7th, and he wasn't far from 5th and 6th.
An eventful night for the 22 team a week ago. Right now, looking to lead the field back to turn 1. Again, Rich Hammond having a tough time coming up the speed further back. Hangs on to the 5th spot. Here comes Kevin Cormier, itching to get to the inside of both of them off turn 2.
But he stays behind the front 2 who continue to race side by side. Gary Patnode in the 22, Devin Jensick in the 23. Patnode has the lead. Now Cormier moves to the inside of Jensick. Cormier had a hard time getting past that 23 before the caution. This time, no problem. He moves up to 2nd.
Clement up now to position number 3. Jensick back to 4th and gets into line just in front of Rich Hammond in 5th. Top 5 closely bunched up the back straightaway. All behind the 22 of Gary Patnode into the second half of this heat race.
Matt Clemens says hello to Kevin Cormier, gave him a little tap in 3 and 4. It looks like that 59 might be a little bit faster than car number 14. One spot behind them, it's Devin Jensick, who had a peek on the inside from Rich Hammond back in 5th.
Hammond settles in the line in 5th, car length behind Jensick in the 23, coming to 2 laps to go off of turn number 4 for Gary Patnode in the 22. And is able to pull away just a bit over the bid for 2nd. Cormier and Clement, and now the battle for 4th is a good one in turn 1.
Remember, all 5 of these cars that you see are qualified for the handicap. Gary Patnode, one of the keys for him, I think, is he might be good in the first couple laps, but can he keep it consistent 5 laps in, 8 laps in, 12 laps in? So far, so good. He takes the white flag out in front, and that gap has not really closed.
In fact, it's extended just a bit, about 0.4 of a second between the top 2. Cormier has his hands full, though, with Matt Clement in the 59. Battle for 2nd into turn 3 with the checkered flag out. This time for car number 22, Gary Patnode will win heat number 2 for the limited late models over Kevin Cormier in 2nd, Matt Clement in 3rd, and Rich Hammond will round out the front half of the 8-car field.
Devin Jensick finishes 5th, Trinity Provost 6th. Dana Ray 7th, David Schinder 8th. Ray and Schinder not finishing after their turn 2 accident earlier in the heat. Good run for Gary Patnode. We'll see what that spells for the future in the feature event later tonight. Rich Hammond did get past Devin Jensick on the last lap to move up to 4th. Jensick not quite happy with his car last week when he finished 6th. Hammond had one of his better runs this season when he finished 4th. We'll see what those two have for the 20-lapper later tonight.
So they'll head back to the pit area. The SK Light Modified scheduled up next for 3 heat races, 31 cars on property. looking to take the green flag for the 20-lap main event here later tonight. Heat race number 1 rolling out onto the Speedway. Car number 89 will lead the field to the green flag here. From Berlin, Connecticut, the Alkis Motorsports sponsored car for our pole sitter, Tyler Alkis.
Starting second is the Mayor from East Hartford, Connecticut, sponsored by Metro Garage Door. In car number 87, it's Joey Farino.
Another one of the veterans of the division will start third. Car number 98 from Coventry, Connecticut, Lincoln Tech, providing the sponsorship for Norm Sears.
Outside of row 2 is the 88 car from Weathersfield, Connecticut, sponsored by JG Pool and Drywall. It's Frank Latwell Jr.
Fifth starter, car number 82 from Tolland, Connecticut, Supreme Industries, the entry for Paula Root.
Starting sixth is the 16 from Chaplin, Connecticut, sponsored by Busy Bees Learning Center. It's Nicholas Hovey.
Seventh starter, car number 44 from Ellington, Connecticut, Chapman Apartment Homes, to bring us Jason Chapman.
Outside of row 4 is our reigning champion in car number 18 from Griswold, Connecticut, sponsored by Pro System Integration. It's Tyler Berry.
Another one of those drivers that have moved up from our Monday night karting program. Car number 35 in his rookie year here in the SK Lights from Ashford, Connecticut, the Tolland County Foundation replacement entry for Josh Morrison.
Outside of row 5 is the 52 car from Waterbury, Connecticut, sponsored by Pettit Racing Engines. It's Anthony Farino.
And rounding out the 11-car field, it's the 00 from Bristol, Connecticut, Blue Moon Design, to bring us Todd Clark.
So there you have it, the 11-car field. Top 5 qualify for the handicap. Tyler Alkis on the front row. Didn't race last week. Didn't make the heat, didn't make the feature. So he's back at it tonight. He's going to have his work cut out for him. He's a little bit behind. Trying to get a good run for this heat to get a better starting spot for the feature.
Haley Deegan's biggest fan. Tyler Alkis always has a T-shirt on, repping Haley, especially a couple of weeks ago when the SRX was here and Haley was in attendance. Here they come off turn 4, heat race number 1. Alkis to the inside, takes the green flag, and sends heat race number 1 to turn 1 with Joey Farino to the outside lane.
They head into the first corner. Alkis is clear with the lead. Farino is side by side with Norm Sears, a couple drivers who've been racing at Stafford for a very long time, along with Frank Latwell Jr., and they're 3 wide further back. Jason Chapman pushes the issue underneath Paula Root.
And Nicholas Hovey to the extreme outside in the 16. They fan out. Everybody's okay. Jason Chapman, Tyler Berry in the 18. They're side by side for a spot just out of the top 5. Paula Root's looking to the inside, digging his way up into the top 5 and potentially to the 4th spot in the 82.
Yeah, Root is side by side with Latwell in the 88. Latwell falls back a bit coming off of 4. Root is just about clear. Behind them, Tyler Berry is pushing the daylights out of Nick Hovey in that battle for the 5th and 6th spot.
Hovey in the blue 16 in the outside lane. Now Berry switches things up and goes to the inside, just behind Jason Chapman in the 44. All of this from 6th on back. Latwell will slide into position number 5. Then it's Hovey in 6th, Chapman in 7th, Berry in 8th, Morrison in 9th.
Remember, Jason Chapman's car was put back together after he had somebody climb over his left side last Friday. That somebody was Casey Boat. The car looks good as new, though, as he tries to make his way into the top 5, but he's got nowhere to go.
4 down, 4 to go, and it is all Tyler Alkis at the front of the field and is able to break away from Farino in 2nd, Sears in 3rd. And then they're really going to bunch up from 4th on back. Paula Root in 4th, has Latwell looking to his inside. Latwell's trying to fend off at the same time. Nicholas Hovey to his outside.
Berry has been pushing Hovey lap after lap on the outside. He's ready to go, but he has nowhere to go. They're still side by side in front of him as Frank Latwell Jr. and Nick Hovey continue to race Nerf bar to Nerf bar for 5th.
Just behind Paula Root in 4th, just in front of Tyler Berry in the 18, looking to make his way into the front 5, along with Jason Chapman in the 44 as they come back off of turn number 4. Couple laps to go, 2 to run for race leader Tyler Alkis.
And they're still stacked up from 4th on back. Alkis has pulled away to a healthy lead over Farino and Sears as Hovey now moves to the inside of a Root in the battle for 4th, with Latwell and Berry battling for 6th.
Paula Root in the outside lane, car number 82. Hovey to the inside, change potentially for 2nd as they're deadlocked at the point. Farino and Sears just behind, or I guess well behind, race leader Tyler Alkis, who is all by himself at the front of the field here on the final lap.
Alkis leads by over a second as Farino takes one last look to the inside of Norm Sears in the battle for 2nd. Up front, Tyler Alkis pulls away and takes down the heat race win. Norm Sears second, Joey Farino third, Nick Hovey and Frank Litwell Jr. round out the top 5.
Things got physical there in that second pack of traffic on the final lap. Tyler Berry will finish in 6th. Paul Aroot kicked back to 7th. Then it was Jason Chapman in 8th, Anthony Farino in 9th, and a great save by Josh Morrison on the final lap of that race off of turn 4 to finish in 10th. Todd Clark will round out the 11-car field.
For those watching the broadcast on YouTube and Facebook, we thank you for tuning in. If you want to enjoy the rest of tonight's events, you can tune in right now on Flow.